We're ready. Hey everyone, good morning. It's Paul.DiGrigoli, and boy, I tell you what, this next program is the third series of what I've been doing every Tuesday at 11 o'clock. The first one that I did was called Owning Your Own Salon. Are you running your salon, or is your salon running you? And then the second one was Secrets of the Best Stylist in America and in the world, and this one is called Stunning Leadership. So before I begin, I want to make sure that each and every one of you have a 8.5 by 11 piece of paper to get started. You can see it here. I folded it in half, and then I folded it in quarters. And the reason why I want you to have this is because it's really important to do your homework. You're not going to remember everything that I say in each and every one of my programs. So I'm going to start with action ideas for number one. And number two, I'm going to start with recap of motivation. And then number three, I'm going to do research. And number four, I'm going to do homework. And then I'm going to flip the page over and I'm going to work team ideas. And then I'm going to work leadership ideas. And then your new goals, because don't forget, we've already gone through Q1, which is January, February, March. And then the last one, which is number 8, which is going to be doodle. So I'm going to repeat that. So take a 8.5 by 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and then you're gonna fold it in half, and you're gonna fold it in quarters, and then on the top of it, you're gonna write action ideas or action items, and then recap motivation, and then research, and then you're gonna do your homework, and then you're gonna flip it over, and then you're also gonna do team ideas, leadership ideas, new goals, and you're going to doodle, whatever you want to doodle. And I think it's important, and I want you to jot down things that I talk about that might enhance certain things that you might like to do when it comes to leadership. And I don't care about anything else, but I think leadership by far is number one. So the hardest thing in the world is we have three things, and that is this. We have steel, which is very, very hard. We have diamonds, and then we have knowing oneself. And I think in any organization, and I don't care if you're in the hair industry or any other industry, leadership by far is the most important. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. So leadership by far is one of the most important things of all time within a small and a big business. Number two, leadership helps us develop great people. That's what we need in salons and school and any business, and to build your giant clientele in any organization, because leadership is all about people. You're going to influence people. You're going to tell people what to do. You're going to treat people with kindness, respect, and understanding, and you're going to find out really what motivates them, which we're really going to talk about. And then secondly, it's not easy being a leader because you're going to get criticized. You're going to get laughed at. You're going to get humiliated. You're going to get called all kinds of names. There's going to be setbacks and obstacles and defeats and disappointments and everything you do when it comes to leadership. I think leadership is extremely important. And then thirdly, grit is being a leader, and it's important that you need as much as you need it when it comes to a leader. You need grit. You need the ability to bounce back. You're going to have setbacks and obstacles, and you're going to learn from them. A lot of people don't learn from them. They beat themselves up and they keep doing it again and again and again and again. So stunning leadership in any business is absolutely critical if you want to grow people and you want your business to run without you. Then that's when you're successful. That's when you're a successful leader as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so stunning leadership. when we really think about it, what will it look like? Okay, the first thing I want to say to you is to be gentle. I think, one of the things when it comes to stunning leadership, I think the most important thing is who we bring on board, who we hire. We have a tendency to hire haphazardly. We hire on a shoestring. We hire in desperation. I think it's absolutely critical. Are you always going to hit a home run? No. Are you always going to, make it, the most important thing when it comes to leadership when you hire people and then after 6 months or a year, that person is going to be with you for the rest of your life? No. People have different goals. People have different ambitions. People have different drive. When it comes to a leader, they either work the first hours of the day of the first 12 hours or the second 12 hours. You're either a morning person or you're an afternoon person. But I think being an effective leader is extremely important, and it doesn't matter whether you're a small business or whether you're a big business. I think it's really important to be a servant leader, which we're really going to talk about. When leaders treat followers with respect, you're always going to have followers, and as a leader, you got to have respect. A lot of times people think that I'm just the boss. I'm going to be the boss of this organization. I'm going to do what I want, when I want, whenever I want, with whom I want. I'm going to walk out the door, and that's it. And guess what? That's going to completely change, because when you're a leader in an organization, I don't care if you're the front desk leader of a reception desk, or you're the front desk leader of a salon, or you're a front desk leader of any organization. Could be a restaurant, could be a hardware store, could be Home Depot, could be whatever. You're still an effective leader. And I think that's extremely forward. Everything will come together. There's no question about it when you're an effective leader. But you must communicate with one another. Followers respond with trust. If there is great leadership, there's great trust. Great leaders don't bullshit. They don't underestimate their people. They have the toughest job in the world, and that is when you hire people. You don't hire haphazardly. You usually hire, where someone can make a decision. Some people can't make a decision. Some people will come to you when they come to you. Everything is in place when it comes to an effective leader. Different personalities. Now, we're going to talk about the different personalities because there's two different types of personalities. You either an A personality or you're a B personality. An A personality is a little bit more aggressive. They can make a decision. They're very coachable. They're very understandable. And then you have personality B. And when you have personality B, I have to tell you, you're more laid back. You're more conservative. You don't make the decisions right away. You have to think about things. You're more calisthenic. You're not as auditory and as visual as a type A personality. But the two go hand in hand, and you have to work with them and you have to understand them. That's where a lot of times we get into trouble, because we're a type A personality and we really don't fully understand a type B personality as well. Okay? Everyone has a story to tell. I don't care who you are, what you're doing. You hear it over and over again with effective leaders. Tell your story. Everybody's got a story to tell, and everybody's got an obstacle and a setback and a defeat, and they move forward and they really understand what their story is. And they explain their story in detail. You can learn a lot from their story, or you could be bored out of your mind, if you will, when it comes to someone's story. But the fact of the matter is, no matter how young you are right now, you're always going to turn, when you turn 20, you're going to turn 30, you're going to turn 40, you're going to turn 50, you're going to turn 60. You might not think so, but it goes by pretty fast. And hopefully with all these people that are sharing you all their experience that they've had, and that's the name of the game, is to teach you decades into days, and they can teach you all kinds of things that have happened to them, and that they've had setbacks and obstacles and defeats and disappointments, and they learn from them. You can learn the same way, so you don't make the same mistake as they made as well. That's an effective leader. Okay? Consideration, respect not only for yourself, for them as well. And we're going to talk a lot about consideration. Okay? It's not what you are going to do. It's not what you're going to do. It's why you are going to do it. And I think that's really important as an effective leader. Know why you are doing it. Know what it's given you. Maybe it's given you the results. I'm not really sure what it's given you. But the name of the game, it's not what you are going to do. It's why you are going to do it. And I can tell you this. It's peace. It's love. It's harmony. It's giving back. It's caring. And it's serving. And I think that's why we do what we do, because we love what we do. We love the people we do it with. And we continue to share the information so they don't make the same mistakes that we've made or they have made, and we can learn from it. A lot of times people get set in their ways. You know, they look at their salon, they look at their clientele, in no matter what business that you're in, and they think nothing can happen to them. You're always not going to have happy customers. You're not always going to have happy people. You're not going to always have people that work for you that are going to be the happiest. You're going to make mistakes in hiring. You're going to hire the wrong people that don't fit into your culture. And that's something that we're going to talk about, is creating a culture of excellence. And really, is there one or two, or there different types of people that work for you within your organization? But really, that's the name of the game. And I think, a lot with social media today, we've learned so much. So one click of the button, we can learn something instantaneously. But it depends on if you put it into action or not. If you learn from it, if you practice it. And we're going to talk about the 3 superpowers, how everybody has 3 superpowers, and how we can peel that back, because everybody tries to be all things to all people. It's impossible today. You got to do 1 or 2 or 3 things absolutely correct and absolutely right, and then move on. And then when you become a master in your chosen field in those 3 things, it's a game changer for you. Okay, so next. Stunning leadership. It only took a minute to make a change. Sometimes if you sit down and you evaluate where you are right now, is this exactly where you want to be? We always want more freedom. We always want more money. We want to be able to do what we want, when we want, whoever we want to do it with. All of us are aiming for that. All of us are shooting for that. Time is, I always say this, you always can get more money, but you can't get more time. So how you spend your time is extremely important. And people don't realize it, that time goes by very, very quickly. We're already into Q2, and we're so wrapped up with this coronavirus. We watch it every night. We watch it every day. We watch it in the morning. We watch it at noon. We watch it at 3 o'clock. We watch it at 6 o'clock. We watch it at 9 o'clock. It will pass too, but what are we going to learn from it? That's the key. What are we going to learn from it? The stock market right now is in the toilet. A barrel of gas right now is almost $20 or $21 a barrel of gas. You should be capitalizing this right now. You see it yourself. I don't have to tell you this, but I can make you more aware of it. But if you drive, if you go anywhere, gas has dropped substantially. So maybe this is a time that we want to capitalize on this. Even if you have $200, even if you have $100, even if you don't need millions of dollars to make millions of dollars. It takes small daily disciplines and increments to get where you want to get. And I think that's the name of the game. A lot of times we want things instantaneously. We think we're going to get it overnight, and we're not. It's almost impossible. So stunning leadership. Pain is what drives us. I don't care about anything else. It only took a minute to make a change. Usually you make a change when there's enough pain, where you look in the mirror and you say to yourself, that's it, no more, never again, it's over. And you look at yourself and you look at your situation, I'm not going to do this anymore, it creates too much pain. How long can you take the pain? I'm not sure. For guys, a lot of times they don't go to the doctors. They wait for the pain to set in. They don't think it's going to happen to them. They don't think it can happen to them until it's too late. So I'm suggesting that you go get a physical every year. You go get a blood test every year. You see how well you're doing. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that you got to run a marathon. I'm not saying that you got to run a half a marathon, but maybe you got to take care of yourself. You got to watch what you eat. You got to slim down. You got to discipline yourself. You know what I mean? I mean, there's 3 things that are really important, and that's exercise, food, and sleep. Those are the 3 things that you really got to focus in on. Exercise, food, and sleep. You know what I mean? And you got to exercise. You got to move. You got to go for a walk. You got to ride a bike. You got to do something. I don't give a shit if it's for 20 minutes a day, but you got to do something in order for you to keep alive and to keep your memory alive and to your brain alive, and you can feel those juices moving. So there's a lot of things that can keep you moving. Okay? One thing at a time. And I'm saying to do one thing at a time. We try to do many things, especially if you're a type A personality like me. Like I'm a type A personality. I like to go, 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 go all the time. I like to do many things at once. I feel that I can take the impossible and make it possible. And we can't do that anymore. We got to do one thing at a time. Maybe it's for 60 minutes. You know what I mean? Maybe you want to get up in the morning and maybe you want to look at your journal. Maybe you want to write in your journal. Maybe you want to sip a cup of coffee. Coffee is good for you. It gives you antioxidants. It gives you focus. It does a lot for you. You know, by exercising, you create BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. It stimulates your mind. Dopamine sets in. It allows you to focus. There's certain things that you can do in the morning to realign yourself and set yourself up for a good day. You don't have to have a bad day all the time. You're always going to have setbacks. Everybody's going to have an opinion about what you do, what you say, and everything of that matter. It's how well you process the information, I think, which is the most important thing. Okay? Turn up the team and then tune up the team. So you got to turn up your team and you got to tune up your team. That's great leadership. Okay? Find out what's working, find out what's not working, and correct it. Everybody's not going to do it like you. When you hire people, and you hire people from the outside, they're only going to do what they've learned somewhere else until they're in your culture, until you're in your environment. So you must turn up the team, okay? Find out what makes them tick. How well do you want to, them to treat your customer? How well do you want them to answer the phone? It's the little things that make all the difference in the world. And then you've got to tune up your team. Tuning up your team is maybe having a very productive staff meeting. We don't have staff meetings. The only thing staff meetings is all about communication. What's happening? What's going on? How well are people doing? How well are you doing? Okay. We open up our staff meetings. We do our staff meetings every single month, and we open up with a positive. 3 positive, which would be the top in service and in retail, and the top 3 in services and the top 3 in retail, and we give out lottery tickets to those individuals. Start off with a positive. Don't be the first one that you're in a gripe session and, why you didn't rinse out the perm rods, and why didn't you clean out your sink, and why didn't you sweep up your station, and that's all the negative, and that's all the toxicity. If you create that toxicity and you create that negativity at first, guess what? It's going to happen, and it's going to continue to happen, and it's going to snowball because you always have naysayers, especially if you're in the morning and especially if you're afternoon. There's never a right time for a staff meeting. Everybody thinks, when do you do a staff meeting? Do you do it in the morning? Do you do it in the afternoon? People will go to staff meetings as long as they're getting value out of the staff meetings. You don't have to be 45 minutes or an hour or 2 hours long with the staff meetings. Get to the point that you want to get to, okay? Let them know the harmony of what's going on within the salon or the school or your business, but staff meetings are all about communication, okay? How well do you do this? And even my team. And I'm speaking on behalf of my team because I walk my talk. And if I didn't have a salon, if I didn't have a school, then we'd be having a different conversation. But I go through the same things that you go through every single day. Whether you're just starting off, whether you're starting to build a clientele, whether you're in a team-based salon, whether you're in suites, whether you're in a combination, whether you're in just a team-based salon, Leadership is so important, and you have to understand what's going on within that culture. If you don't understand what's going on within that culture, then you're going to have a lot of mixed messages, and you got to treat everybody differently. So being an effective leader is the key to everything. I don't care what anybody says. Stunning leadership is all about leadership and making your organization tick and making it go. Okay, now when we talk about customer service, I'm only going to talk shortly about customer service, but there's two types of customer service. One is customer service the way you treat another individual. Secondly is the technical service, is the balayage, it's the ombre, it's the foil, it's the haircut, it's the men's haircut, it's the flat tops, it's the tapers, it's the fade, it's scissor over comb, whatever it might be. So there's two types of customer service. One is the customer service that you verbally and how well you treat the client and the questions that you ask them, as simple as how well do you put them, back into the sink or the wash house? How do you hold their neck? How do you give them a invigorated shampoo? How do you sit them up? Do you put your hand behind their back or do you get them all wet? I am not sure. And then secondly, the technical service, the ability to do any service very, very, very well. And when I talk about technical service, I want you to be an absolute master. I want you to be BIW, the best in the world when it comes to what you ever decide that you decide to do on, whether it be a haircut, whether it be a foil, whether it be an updo. I want you to be BIW. I want you to be the best in the world of putting your hair up, okay? And then how can you tell whether you give great customer service? How well can you tell whether you give good technical service or not? And that is, you do it effortlessly, which equals mastery. And I talked about this in the very beginning. I talked about taking an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, put your action ideas on it, put a recap of motivation, your research, your homework. I talked about team ideas. I talked about leadership ideas. I talked about your new goals, and I talked about doodling. One of the things that you do every single day in your salon or the people that you deal with is effortlessly. When you do it effortlessly, you create mastery. You become a master in your chosen field. That's when you know you're a master. And guess what? There are going to be times when you work from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night. You're not going to treat your 8 o'clock a.m. client just as well as your 8 a.m. p.m. client, even though you should. Because you're going to be tired. You're going to be exhausted. There's things that happen throughout the day. And don't kid yourself because they do. But when you do it effortlessly, then you become a master in your chosen field. How well do you treat the customer? That's the key. How well do you treat your staff, even when you're upside down, even when you have an irate client? How well do you treat a staff member? Do you go in the back room? Do you go for a walk? Do you try to get your bearings straight? I don't know. But whatever you say, I can tell you this, you own it. And sometimes it's harder to get it back once you say it because you say it in a very stressful way. Okay? How well do you do the technical service? How well do you do an ombre? How well do you do a foil? How well do you mix formulations? I don't know. But I want you to think about that, and I want you to become a master at that in your chosen field because that is really the key when it comes down to being an effective leader, of really understanding what you do and why you do it and how you produce it. So 2 things with customer service. How well you treat the customer. Forget the technical aspect of it. Okay, it's how you greet them. It's how you meet them. It's how you say hello to them. It's how the receptionist answers the phone every single time. It's the little things that make the difference. It's how well they offer to give them water or a smock or a magazine, or do they address you by the first name? There's 2 things that are the most important in the English language. Someone's name, okay, and I appreciate you or thank you. Actually, 3 things, okay, that you should really zero in on, and they should become part of your vocabulary. And I know I said this before, but to say it again and again and again, repetition is the mother of skill. The more you hear it, the more it becomes embedded into your subconscious mind, and the more you do it. And I think that's really the key. Okay, next, relationships. Okay, so let's talk about relationships. Rethink your leadership. And I want you to take some time with your leadership. Now, how well do you really distribute your leadership? Are you a servant leader? Do you put your people first? Do you provide opportunities with people within your organization? I don't know. But after today, I want you to sit down, and that's one, leadership ideas. What type of leader are you? Do you snap? Do you say you're too busy? Do you don't hire the right people? Do you hire haphazardly? Do you hire on a shoestring? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you do. So the key is to make sure that with yourself and other people, you're a great leader. And that's really the key. Shape your salon and your clientele. What shape are you really in? Now I want you to think about that. What shape are you really in? So I want you to think about your salon a little bit. And I want to think about your business, whether you have a consultant business, whether you work for Home Depot, whether you work for Panera Bread. I don't know. I don't care if you're a waitress or a waiter, whatever you do. I really want you to think about what shape are you really in. I said it again, and I'm going to say it over and over again. We're already in Q1, right? January, February, March is gone. Now we're in Q2. We're in April, May, and June. Where do you want to be 90 days from now? You have 30, 60, 90 days. Every single day that goes by, you're either climbing or you're sliding. You're growing or you're dying. You're either on the upswing or you're on the downswing. There's no in between. And if you are in between, you're on the fence. You're in no man's land. You're either on the fence, you're either off the fence or on the fence. There's no in between. So you've got to decide what you want to do. Because a lot of times people are on the fence, they are in no man's land. So you got to make a decision. So what shape is your business really in? Now, if you're an independent contractor, what really, do you have a clientele? Are you working 2? Are you working 3 days? Are you working 3 or 4 12-hour days? Are you working 1, 2, 3, 4 8-hour days? I'm not really sure. But this is a time to evaluate and say to yourself, what shape am my business really in? And what areas do I must work on? You know, you might be saying to yourself, well, Paul, if I'm not behind the chair and I'm the busiest one in my salon, I'm not going to make my rent payment. I'm not going to be able to pay the electric, the telephone, the gas. I'm not going to meet my payroll. There could be a lot of things that you could be asking yourself these questions. But if you don't sit down and you don't evaluate and find out what shape your business is in, then you're never going to move forward. You can sit in every single classroom that you possibly plan, whether it's Premier, whether it's a beauty experience, whether it's used to be IBS, any class you can possibly sit in to get motivated and to get a shot in the arm and say to yourself, well, this is what I want to do. But if you don't sit down and you don't ask yourself, what shape of my business really in, and you don't tell yourself the truth, because it's easy to sugarcoat it, it's easy to look at something and say to yourself, well, we're doing good, we're doing okay, we're doing great, we're doing fast. Are you really? That could change overnight. So one thing I don't do is I don't take anything for granted. You know, I look at things, you know, and I say to myself, okay, I'm successful today, tomorrow I might not be. You know, I keep working towards my goals. I keep enhancing my goals. I'm just like you. Don't forget, I'm just like you. Even though I'm a motivational speaker, you know, and even though I'm on the circuit, I'm just like you. I'm just a guy. I might have more experience than maybe some of you, but for most of you that have been doing this for 30, 35, 40 years, I don't want you to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. You're going to get to my age. You're going to get to where you're going to peel back. You're going to look and you're going to say to yourself, well, I want to settle down. Some of you might never settle down. Some of you might never retire. I say I'm not going to retire. I'm going to refire. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to keep going. And I think that's really the name of the game. And you got to keep going. But you've also got to have an exit strategy as well. And I think that's important. Okay, build leadership through collaborations with your people, and how often and when. You know, collaborations, that's a big word, that's a new word, but you got to collaborate with your people. And I don't care if you're a booth renter, if you're a suite owner, if you're an independent contractor, if you're a team-based salon, all of that is so important, and it's things that you got to look at. And I don't care what type of business that you're in, you have to look at it as collaboration of what works for your team. And that's extremely important, because every individual on your team has certain goals that they want to achieve. Some of them might want to work with your values and your beliefs and your understanding, but there's others that don't. But if you can find out what makes them tick and what makes them work, and you do that in a very short meeting, you know, you might want to ask your staff, you know, do you still enjoy coming to work? Do you still enjoy the people that you work with? You know, those are two major questions that you can ask your people. Do you enjoy coming to work, or do you still enjoy the people you work with? That's a big question to ask someone, because if they don't enjoy coming to work and they don't enjoy the people that they work with, then how can you have a culture of excellence? How can you create something that's sustainable? How can you create something where everybody gets along, that your customer is going to feel the energy, the passion, the love, the connection, that everybody's getting together? That's really the key. Okay? Inspire team relationships. Everybody even is speaking or talking the words that you might use. Every single day, the words that you use. Okay? I always say this, and I didn't come up with this. I think Norman Vincent Peale came up with this. Think and Grow Rich. Okay? It's a great book if you haven't read that book. Okay? By Napoleon Hill. You know, he said that 7% is the words that you use. 38% is your voice, it's your tonality, it's how you present yourself, and 55% is your physiology. And that's just a fancy word of the way you move your body. And people can tell just by the way you move your body, just by your hand gestures, just by your energy level, just by your passion. If you listen to people that listen to newscasters and they're watching a movie, they'll say, wow, this guy's got great passion, I like this guy, or I don't like this guy. There's certain people out there that's going to give you the information that you're looking for, and there's other people that are going to bullshit you, and I don't want you to be bullshitted. That's for sure. Okay, resolve problems quickly. 85% is a solution, 50% is a problem. But resolve problems quickly. Don't let it go from day to the next day to the next day to weeks, because it will deteriorate the organization. Pull the person in your salon, find out what's bothering this person or upset this person. If this person doesn't want to talk to you, let them talk to someone else. But I can tell you this, they've done studies on this, and then women will have a tendency to go to more women than they do males. And I know that just by being the president of my company, that if I have Caitlin and I have Amy underneath me, and both of those girls, if there's a problem or there's an issue with another woman, they usually go to them. Some of them go to me, but some of them go to them as well if I'm not available, or even if I'm available. And then we can pitch and catch together, and we can understand, and we can come up with a solution. And I think that's the key. Okay? How long does it take you? Is the problem a small one or a big one? Okay? And is there relevance to the question? Usually it is. I have to tell you that no matter what an employee comes to you with a question or a problem, there's validity to that. There is an answer to that. Every single problem that they ask you, there is a solution and there's a formula. So don't neglect it. I think everything's important. You might not think it's important, but it's important to them. So when it comes to your employees, when it comes to building a team, when it comes to leadership, it's imperative to grow big ears. Listen, listen, listen. Learn to listen and listen more. And that's the name of the game as an effective leader. Okay? Building relationships between the team, the customer, the executive team, the students, and the stylist. A lot of times this breaks down to various people. It goes from the student stylist to the executive team to the customer to the team. You can't build relationships when it breaks down all the way to the end of the chain. Just the person, your stylist, they're on the front line. Your receptionist, they're on the front line. That's where your victory comes from, the people on the front line. It's not the people that's up on the 5th floor or the people that's the president or the CEO. Your victory comes from the people on the front line. It's imperative that the leaders speak to all of the people within the organization, and they speak with candid, and they speak with caring and loving and service. You're not always going to hit a home run. You're not always going to have people that are going to have a phenomenal attitude. You're not always going to have people that are going to treat people like you do. They have a different mindset. But if you work on it slowly, not in a hurry or haphazardly or in a staff meeting, it'll eventually come. There's an old saying, and that is that, you treat people the way you want to be treated. And there's a lot of merit to that. A lot of times we don't think that we don't treat people the way we want to be treated, but we do. It's totally amazing. So when you're a servant leader, you treat everybody the same. You treat everybody like it's they work in a Fortune 500 company. I don't care who it is. Everybody's treated the same. Okay, optimize. Now, when we talk about optimization and we talk about optimize, one of the things when it comes to optimize and when it comes to energy, as an effective leader, you must have energy. Move forward with the facts. Don't try to BS people. Have authenticity. Be yourself and teach that within your culture. Teach the facts. There's not a lot of facts. There's, people fabricate things. People ambiguate things. They take facts and they twist them around or whatever. Remember, it's only opinion, and it's only their opinion, and then you got to decide whether you like it or not. But for the most part, when it comes to optimization, when it comes to being an effective leader, when it comes to be a servant leader, and you want to move things forward, it's imperative that you give the facts. Understand the facts. And I think that's the key. Understanding a type A personality. Understanding a type B personality. They've done studies on this. They've done hundreds of studies on a type A and a type B. And I have to tell you, a lot of different people have different types of personalities. And like if I come up against another A personality, I adjust to their behavior. I'm around a lot of type A personalities, that are very aggressive, that are very certain. They can make a decision. They understand their craft, whether they're in the hair industry, whether they're not in the hair industry. But they understand it. I can tell you that. But you have to understand it more importantly than they do. That's how you get along. If people don't like a type A personality, if they don't like what they say, they don't like their opinion of what they have to say about it, and your job as having a type A personality is to digest it. Then you have a type B personality, which is a little bit more passive. They can't make a decision. It takes them longer to make a decision. They're more analytical. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's why if you're a type A personality, you have a tendency to marry a B personality, or you're with a B personality. If you're an A personality and you're attracted to an A personality, then you understand an A personality. Or you just get along, or they just become your roommate, or they're there just paying their rent, or they're there because they're a sounding board. I don't know. But I can tell you this, when you have an A and a B, and you all know this, as leaders, you know this. When you hire somebody, you know whether they're an A and a B. Not necessarily in the first interview or maybe the second interview, but the third or the fourth interview, you get to understand the individual a little bit better. And then after 6 months or 7 months that they've been working for you, then you really know whether they're an A and a B, or whether they have the skill level to to adjust to an A or B. But I think an A and B, type A, type B personality is extremely important, and I think it's something that you should look out for. There's a program called DISC out there, and there's other programs out there that people utilize when they hire people to see if they match up or not. And I believe in simplicity. I believe in keeping things simple. I believe in doing things in a simple manner. I don't make things a lot more complicated than what they are. There's a lot of people that make them a lot more complicated than what they are. They like to fool you. But I like to keep things simple. And I think if you're an effective leader and you're a servant leader and you have stunning leadership, then you keep things simple and you understand what the other individual is trying to say. And I think that's really the key. HOP, H-O-P, the Hour of Power, and I mentioned this to most of you as a type A personality, even a type B personality. People get going in the morning. You can get going at 9 o'clock, you can go at 10 o'clock, but make sure you have HOP, HOP, Hour of Power. Hour of Power is 20-20-20, 20 minutes of exercise, 20 minutes of good music, half-page plan. I talk about this a lot in my seminars. I said this in the very beginning. Take an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, divide it into quarters. Okay, you can see this. You can divide it into a quarter, and then you can list your bullet points, your action ideas, your recap and your motivation, your research, your homework, your team ideas, your leadership ideas, your new goals. You might want to have new goals for Q2, Q3, Q4, and then you can doodle. You can have an area where you can doodle. So you have 4 squares that you can work on. And if you're a serious student, you'll be doing this. If you're not a serious student, you'll be just listening, and you're not going to remember everything that I say. That's why it's important to take notes and to jot things down. All right, so HOP, HOP, Hour of Power, and then we did a half hour of planning, and then the last 20 minutes, and I'm just going to say this, and it's entirely up to you, what are you grateful for? And what do you have gratitude? When you're grateful, you're rich. And it could be the little things. It could be the wind blowing against your face. It could be riding your bicycle. It could be getting up writing in your journal. It could be drinking 60 ounces of water a day. It could be having a good breakfast in the morning. I don't know. But you got to have exercise. You got to eat properly. And you got to have proper sleep. They've done studies on this now about sleep. And they're saying that you have to sleep at least 7 to 8 hours a day. And we're going to talk about that, about friction, about the friction between you and someone else, and how this friction gives you sleepless nights. But you got to rest your brain, and you got to have your brain rest. So in the morning, you're ready to go for the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. Okay? Passion, love what you do, and love the people you do it with. If you ask me the 2 common ingredients, if you look at the most successful people in the world, if you look at any of the top speakers in this world, they have passion, they have love for what they do, and they love the people they do it with. But here's the key, what's in it for me? What's the WIFM? What's in it for me? Because don't think for 1 second, they're not thinking, what's in it for me? How can I make more money? What can I do? What can I do less? But there are people out there that are sincerely want to give back to you, that love what you do, and they love the people they do it with. There's no question about that. And I have to say, I think that's really the key in everything. Be the BIW. BIW stands for the best in the world. I don't care what you do. You can have 3 superpowers. You can be the best. You can do the best balayage. You can do the best hombres. You can do the best haircuts. You can do the best updos. But be the BIW. Be the best in the world, and keep it simple so somebody can duplicate what you've done or what you do so they can get the same results. There's different types of haircuts out there. There's the whole Vidal Sassoon segment of, horizontal cutting, whether it's the A-light bob or the halo or the bob with no back. And then you have the French cutting. So there's not a right or there's not a wrong. you're going to get the same results. But you got to keep practicing over and over again. Depends on who you practice with. It depends on who you do it with. It depends on if you understand it better than anyone else. You know, and I can tell you, the National Cosmetology Association, they had some great haircutters. You know, Dwight Miller was a great haircutter. I mean, he went out and he executed, you know, a lot of the new looks for the spring and summer and the fall and winter. And a lot of the designers did. They became part of the design team. And they were unbelievable. I mean, they broke it down for you. They explained it to you. And you were able to duplicate what they've done. And, you know, trends change. They change every spring and summer and every fall and winter. Okay, next, optimization. Let's talk about your creativity. And if your creativity stops, then you become bored. You become burnt out. So I want you to not burn out. I want you to burn up. And creativity should be at least once a month within your salon. And then outside of your chosen field, at least 90 days. Now, that could be John Maxwell. It could be Tony Robbins. It could be Zig Ziglar. It could be Robin Sharma. It could be whoever. But listen to somebody outside of your field to keep you on track, to keep you on the paved road and not the dirt road. And the paved road is going to get you where you want to get. There's no question about it. Okay? Learn as much as you can. Learn, learn, learn. You heard me talk about CANI, constant and never-ending improvement, every single day. I live by the word CANI, constant and never-ending improvement. I don't care what it is, both in my personal life or professional life. You have two. So you have to decide, and usually both of them go hand in hand. Okay? So impact on other people and yourself. What kind of impact do you make on other people? How do you help other people? How do you help other people within your salon? Oh, do you think that by you sharing a technique or sharing a haircut or doing what you want to do with other people, that they're going to go somewhere and they're going to take your idea or whatever? That's okay. If that's what they decide to do, let them go. It doesn't matter. I mean, you're always going to get those type of people. Okay? No friction. And you heard me talk about this. When you talk about no friction, you know, I'm in the process of selling my home in Massachusetts. And I could have created friction between myself, which is the buyer, and the seller. And I could have kept negotiating. And I could have kept going back and forth and back and forth. But I've talked to the right people. I've talked to the people that have done it before, that have seen it before, that have heard it before. They don't have the right answers. They're going to give you their opinion, but you're going to find it out. But if you create fiction, it puts a cap on your ability to grow or to sell your item. I know there's urgency. I know that someone really wants it, or they want it because of a certain reason or something it's going to give them. Or if you create this friction between you and the other person, then you're going to start to break down. And you're going to figure out why. So try to eliminate the friction between you and the other person. I think that's really important. Okay? It's not being frustrated. It's not being overwhelmed. And it's not being stressful. You should run your salon. You should build a clientele. You should build your confidence with haircuts, with updos, with blow dries. And you shouldn't be stressed out. You shouldn't be overwhelmed. And you shouldn't be frustrated. Take it easy. Do it. And go take a break. Go take a walk. I tell this to all my students. If something feels uncomfortable to you, it means you're learning. It means you're growing. It means you're developing. It means you're becoming more. If something feels uncomfortable to you. If something doesn't feel uncomfortable to you, you already know it. You're already doing it. So the key is to make things feel uncomfortable. When they feel uncomfortable, don't take it as a negative. Don't self-talk yourself. Don't tell yourself a story why you can't do it. Because you can do it. You're just learning. And it's just like me. There are certain things that I do that I have a tough time with. There are certain things that I don't like to do. that I would pass on. But there's certain things that I must do as an effective leader. Now, sometimes I don't always like it, but I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm developing, I'm becoming more. So the more things feel uncomfortable with you, the more you're learning. And I want you to think about that as an effective leader, as a stunning leader. When someone talks to you and you work with people within your salon or you work with people in your business, if they say, well, I'm really not sure, I don't understand this, I've never done this before, that means they're learning, they're growing, they're developing. So don't take that as a negative, take it as a positive. Okay, next, personal and professionally. And like I said, everything I'm talking about as far as when it comes to stunning leadership, it's you've adapted personally or you adapted professionally. So here's the outcome. What are you looking for? Number one, what's the outcome? Freedom equals money. To be able to do what you want, when you want, whenever you want. You're truly not successful until you can walk away from your salon or you can walk away from your business and your business can run without you. Then you're successful. Then you become a stunning leader. Until you have good people that work for you that can run your business like you would run it when you're not there, then that's the name of the game. Now, you've heard this over and over again. A lot of people say, well, it'll never be the same. If you don't work there, if you're not there, it'll never be the same. Some of that is true depending on your leadership. But if you look at all your franchises and you look at your big franchises, people are doing it without the franchisee. They're making it happen because they got the ingredient. Not any different with you. And whether you have one salon, two salons, three salons in a school, or four salons in a school, whatever it might be, you got to tell yourself the truth. Are you robbing Peter to pay Paul? Are you one doing really well? Are you afraid to close the other one? You know, I had a friend of mine that had two schools, and he closed one school, and I coached him the whole way. And I said, close the school because it's bringing you no value. And I haven't talked to him in a while, but I'm curious to see how well he's doing in the salon and the school, because I can bet you that he's probably doing quite well because he's not there anymore. He's focused on his salon and his schools, and he's giving 110%. So don't think that bigger is always better. And I'm not saying that bigger is not better. If you're going to go to that level, then you better be willing to take the punches, because there's going to be some setbacks and obstacles and defeats and disappointments. And you're going to have winners and you're going to have losers. So you got to decide that. Okay, so some people have a lot of money, but they don't have any time. So they got a lot of money to spend, but they have no time to spend it. So what the hell good is it? And I'm not going to be the richest guy in the graveyard. I always tell everybody to bury me with a suit with no pockets, because you can't take anything with you. And, they might bury me next to the garbage man. I'm not really sure what the hell's going to happen. But for the time being, when your feet are above ground, and when you're above ground, and we're the best days, okay, maximize it to the limit. You decide what you want to do. Okay? Some people have no money, but a lot of time. So they have no money whatsoever, but they have a lot of time to do it. They don't have a balance. And that's all that is. And we can talk about that for hours, about how do you create that balance. Secondly is your purpose. Okay? And that's the beginning. You know, your purpose provides drive. It provides you the motivation. What is the motivation? You know, the motivation that you get up in the morning, that you do your HOP, H-O-P, is because it makes you feel good every day. You have a clear head. You can write effectively. You can read. You can comprehend. Those are the big factors. You sleep 7 to 8 to 9 hours a day. You know, you get up in the morning, your mind is full. It's ready to go. You can process information. Okay? So work harder on yourself than you do on your job. There's no question about purpose. And I'm saying, I think the most successful people in the country, they work 3 hours a day on themselves. And they work harder on themselves than they do on their job. And that allows them to give back. And you can give people a lot more when you work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If I spoke to every single one of you, I can tell you I can learn something from every single one of you. I know I can. I got to ask the right questions, but you could teach me something. I've been doing this for 47 years, 4.5 decades of doing. I've been even in the hair industry. There's not too much I haven't seen, but I know there's a lot of you out there that could teach me something. I don't care what it is, and I'm willing to learn because I'm a student every single day of my life. I can't learn enough. I'm a statistical sponge. I want to learn as much as I can so I don't make the same mistakes that other people have made. And you ask any successful people, they made a lot of mistakes. Part of their whole vocabulary is failure. But they've learned. They picked themselves up and they did it again and again and again and again and again. Okay, next, turnover. I'm not going to talk a lot about this, but you've heard me talk a lot about this, about turnover, and people that you hire are huge. Building your team. I don't care if you're a suite. I don't care if you're a booth renter. You're an independent contractor. Whatever it might be. There's 45 billion people that are in the hair industry that teach cosmetics, that teach hair. It's a $46 billion industry with a B. I want you to grab it, and you can grab it. People, if anything, want to look good. You have the ability to make people look good about themselves. Just understand where their pain is. Just understand what their needs are. Just understand what their wants are. And you have a customer for life, and sometimes you don't realize the value of a lifetime customer. But I can tell you this, one customer for 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 years, do the math, you know yourself that really adds up. Okay? Don't let your people turn over. If you can, keep them. People don't leave salons. People leave people. And I've seen it over and over and over again. People don't leave salons. People leave people. Can you stand working with that other person? I don't know. If you can't stand working with that other person, if another person can't work for a person, if you can't figure it out, if you can't sit down and talk, and you can't talk it out, then it's time to say goodbye. It's that simple, because I'm going to repeat myself. People don't leave salons. People leave people. Okay? Better than you, one is better. I always try to surround myself with people that are better than me, people that are smarter than me, people that understand where they're going. And then I'll digest it. I'll give you my opinion, but I'll process the information. But they don't always have the right answer. Results, it takes time. Employees, time off. What are they doing with it? When they take time off, and you say, well, you're going to take a course this month, or you're going to take a course 30, 60, or 90 days. What course are they taking? Do they want to take the course? Do they want to go? Who's paying for it? Are you paying for it? Are they paying for it? I'm not really sure. But are you paying attention to your employees? What are they doing with it? Are they coming back with it? Are they sharing it with the other staff members? I'm not really sure. Okay? Salon owners, time off. You have to take time off just as well as your employees do. I constantly and continuously are taking time off. I want to go away. I want to learn. I want to learn as much as I can. I learn outside of my industry. I learn within my industry. I want to know as much as I can. I sit into other classes. When I go to Premier Birmingham, or I go to Premier Columbus, or I go to Premier Orlando, I sit into other classrooms. I listen to other people. I might not stay the whole time. I'll be the first to admit it, because I'm bored and I've heard it before. But there's other times that I stay and I learn. There might be one or two things that I might walk away with. Okay? Sometimes there's a big disconnect between the employees and leadership. And I think that will eliminate turnover. I think you've got to find out really what motivates the employees and where the disconnect is. A lot of times we don't have a disconnect and we don't understand in which way they're going. Team development, personal development. Learn to manage yourself. And learning to manage yourself equals personal development. Stay still. Think, and you'll think better. You might want to stay still for 60 minutes. I don't really care. Secondly, servant leadership. Opportunities, people first, and provide opportunities with people within the salon, within the suites or the booth renters or whatever it might be. But stay within your confinements of the four walls. Be a servant leader. Are you going to have setbacks? Are you going to have obstacles? Are you going to have defeats? Are you going to get criticized? And the answer is yes. You are going to get criticized for some of the decisions that you make because people don't like change. But for the most part, when you make a change, you always got to ask yourself, what's in the best interest for the employees, what's in the best interest for the customer, and what's in the best interest for the salon. Those are the three keys that you got to really zero in on. Okay, what business are you really in? You're in the customer service business. Okay, Southwest Airline is in the business to fly airplanes. They just happen to fly airplanes, but they take care of the customer. That's why they're leading. That's why they're number one. If you go to Disney World, they take care of their people. They take care of their customer. So there's no reason why you can't take care of your customer when they come into the salon. I don't care who you are. You're one-on-one. Stay in your own lane. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Focus on your client. Do what you do best. Be the BIW, the best in the world. And then lastly, developing people. We all need to have an open mind when it comes to developing people. We just hired 3 new stylists from our school actually, and can't wait to get them going. And can't wait to get them started and get inside their head because they're phenomenal hairdressers. They're gonna be phenomenal hairdressers. But with all the elite stylists that we have, with all the master stylists that we have, with all the senior stylists that we have, they're all going to help these individuals, and that's the name of the game. Help one another to grow, to develop, to become more, to become book solid. Okay? And then legend leadership, an obsession for learning, and constantly and continuously learn as much as you can. There's no question about you learning. You got to keep learning. When you're learning, you're growing. When you're growing, you're alive. You feel so good about yourself when you keep learning and growing and developing and becoming more. You got that much more to give back. And I think that's really the name of the game. I talked about no excuses. There's absolutely no excuses whatsoever when it comes to growing and developing and learning more. Listen to what people have to say. I talked about the 3 S's of leadership. And that is self-confidence. You got to build self-confidence because when you build self-confidence, it allows you to go. Keep things simple. When you keep things simple, okay, you create speed. That's your 3rd S. So self-confidence is your 1st S. Simplicity is your 2nd S. And speed is your 3rd S. So keep things simple. Keep them simple. And you've heard this before. You hear the KISS theory. Keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple. Just keep it simple so you understand it. When you understand it, then you can go as quickly as you want to go. But once you get to understand it, then you understand it. You keep practicing it again and again and again and again. Don't put a cap on your ability. I always say that genetics is not the realm of practice. Genetics is the realm of keeping things simple. You can move as fast as you want. There's no speed limit in business. Okay? Be yourself. Have authenticity. Continue in education. We talked about that. Be the example. You know what I mean? Be the first one. When I walk into my salon, I'm the first one to grab the broom. Or I'll grab my briefcase. If I see that they're busy in the salon, I'll shampoo for them. You know what I mean? Or I'll go up at the front desk. Or I'll see what my executive team is doing. But I always try to keep things in perspective when I walk into the salon and I walk into the school. I try to catch people doing things right. And you should do the same thing. As a servant leader, as a stunning leader, catch people doing things right. Don't always catch them doing things wrong. We have a tendency to always walk in and find out what's wrong instead of what's right. And you're not going to build your business that way. Okay? And then, when it comes to leaders always eat last. They always do the right thing. They always try to do the right thing. Their staff will go before them, but they always eat last. Okay, legendary leadership. I call them the 3 I's of leadership. I stands for inspire. Your people, your ideas, yourself is motivation. Improve people, and you can go /sales. I see that right now with my product line. I see that with salespeople. We're going to try to do as much as we can possible for our salespeople. We're in, I think, 45 salons right now. You'll never see us on Amazon. You'll never see us in Walgreens. You'll never see us at CVS. We got a product line that I've created myself behind the chair for 25 years. It's in the bottle. It's in the packaging. We give 13.5 ounces. It's paraben-free, gluten-free, sulfate-free. It's just a wonderful, wonderful product line that we have. Language, the words that you use, we talk about that. We talk about 7% is words, 78%, 38% is your voice, it's your tonality, and 55% is your physiology, which is just a fancy word, a way you move your body. Okay, inform, let them know. You've got to inform your people what's happening. I love that. I took that from the hippies. And then with yourself and your people. So I think that's really important. So you've got to inspire your people. You've got to improve your people. And you've got to inform your people. Those are the 3 I's. Inspire, improve, and inform. Let them know what's happening. And the hippies had a great saying back in the 60s. What's happening? And they all want to know what's happening. And the sophisticated hippies want to know what's really happening. And I stole both of those lines from the hippies back in the 60s. Unhappy clients. How do we get unhappy clients? You're running behind. And I have to tell you this. It's real simple. When it comes to unhappy clients and you're running behind, talk with them. Let them know. Don't hide anything. So when you're running behind, come out and talk to them. Let them know what's happening, and don't hide anything from them. Let them know. Let them make the decision. And then you're rushing them. The worst thing you can do is understand them. And then thirdly is unprofessional. As you're really knowing the value of a lifetime customer, be more than nice than the people that you're unprofessional with. So you're running behind, you're rushing them, or you're unprofessional. Those are unhappy clients. And it doesn't matter what business that you're in. You could be the host of an Outback Steakhouse. You could be the host of Chili's, or On the Border, or Carrabba's, or whatever it might be. And it's got to be more than just how many in your party. 2. How many in your party? 4. It's got to be more than that. You know what I mean? You've got to engage. You've got to have a conversation with them. You've got to ask them maybe where they would like to sit. Would they like to sit in a booth? Would you like to sit at a table? Would you like to sit away from people? Maybe we don't have that right now. But you got to communicate. And that's the key. Culture growing equals happiness. This is huge to stay consistent. And you got to treat your 8 o'clock clients as well as your 8 o'clock client at night, and you got to be consistent. So when you talk about the team, they have a responsibility, and so do you as an effective leader. Every team member continues to grow. This is a must. They must grow. All your people must grow, and you as a leader must continue to grow. Once you get burnt out, once you start doing the same thing over and over again, it's called insanity, then you're not going to continue to grow, and that doesn't equal happiness. You got to have happy people that work for you. You got to be happy going to work, and you got to enjoy what you do as well as your people. Customer base growing, new clients, day, week, month, quarterly. You constantly have to new clients. And the way you get new clients, you've heard me talk about this in Book Solid, is through new clients. It takes 4 visits. You have retention. You have referrals. You have free booking. You have customer service. and then you have your 3 superpowers, and then you have your personal development. It goes on and on and on. Okay, and how well are you doing? Do you really know? I don't know. Do you do 60 men compared to 40 women? Do you do 75 women and 25 men? I don't know. Do you know what your request ratio is? I don't know. If we're so busy being busy, we'll never know these answers. Maybe we might get them out of the staff meeting, or get them out of an effective leader that really provides this kind of information, but they think that their stylist is going to lead them, and that's not true. Staff growing, experience, what do they want? What does your staff want when it comes to growth? What do they want when it comes to growing? Is it more time off? Is it educational classes? They want to be part of the team? Why don't you ask them? A lot of us don't ask them. And then when you create your brand, I don't care if you're an individual or you're a team-based salon, you're going to create a brand. And a brand is what you do every single day. It's how well your customer is speaking about you in the outside world. How are they speaking about you? Are they speaking positive? Are they speaking negative? Are they speaking in between? Are they needs being met? I'm not sure. But there are clients out there that take advantage of us. There are clients that we're not going to like, that we're not going to do. There's our clients that you're going to say that you don't want to do anymore. Maybe someone else can do them in the salon. I get it, and I understand it. And I would be telling you different if I wasn't being behind a chair 30 years I was behind a chair doing 60 clients a week. I get it. I understand it. I didn't like everybody. But your brand is all about growing. And this is all of you, not one of you. It's all of you. Okay? And then this really becomes the game changer. When you're all in sequence, when you all work together, when you all work simultaneously as a team. And that's really important. And I don't care whether you're a booth renter or a suite owner, you all got to work as a team. You all got to take care of the customer. Because if they don't, they're going to go somewhere else. And you don't want them to go somewhere else. Lastly, and I'm going to give you my last slide now, out of 16. We went through 16 PowerPoint presentations. 16 slides we went through on stunning leadership. And it's by far the most important thing in any salon. And every single one of you are leaders. And don't think you're not. You lead your client to the shampoo bowl, to the reception desk, to the station, back to the shampoo bowl, back to the station, back to the receptionist, out the door they go. You're very, very, very important. Every single one of you has something wonderful to offer. And I want you to be successful. I want you to take your clientele to the next level. I want you to raise your prices in every October. Because if you don't think it's going to, it's going to. It's going to happen. And mark my word when I tell you, it will happen. It will go to a whole different level. But once this bounces back, I think it's going to be like Christmas all over again. A good thing to do maybe for the first probably 4 weeks is to open up on a Monday, or if you're closed on a Monday, most of you are. Maybe you want to work, like we're just going to work 10 to 4 on a Monday with our staff. I don't want them to work any more, any less, 10 to 4. And just to take care of our customer, take care of the ones that really need it the most. And everybody's going to need it. I don't care who they are. I think everybody's going to need it. And that's entirely up to you to decide what you want to do. But really take care of your customer. Don't forget the price. That's really important as well. Stop chasing things that don't bring you value. And I can't say this enough. Stop chasing things that don't bring you value. You know, it's sad to say that we have 2 graduations a year and maybe 4 to 8 salon owners and staff come to our graduation. And it's usually because out of the 8, maybe 4 is because one of the graduates work for them and they're going to be graduating, so they decide to come and to support them. But for all of you out there, don't lose this opportunity. Don't think there's not good stylists out there. there's great stylists out there. You just have to go get them. You have to go into the salons. You have to talk about your salons. You got to have to prepare what you're going to talk about. Okay, what's going to attract people to come and work for you? I think those are the kind of important things when it comes to leadership and building the staff. So I want you to not get tired. You get tired because you're working 12 to 14 hours a day and you're working 5 days a week just to keep your head above water. But I think for the most part, I want you to start thinking with your head. And I want you to start thinking with your physiology, the way you move every day. And I want you to start to make good decisions. And I want you to do your homework. Hopefully, most of you took this. There's 8 blocks in this, and you wrote down your action ideas. You wrote down recap and motivation. You wrote down your research. You wrote down, what am I going to do for homework? And then for homework, you might have just one idea that you might want to do. You might want to work team ideas. Your goals. You might want to re-look at your goals, because you got to look at your goals every single day, both short-term and long-term. You got to look at them every single day. Leadership ideas. There might be a leadership idea that maybe you're not doing that you want to incorporate, but maybe that's just one thing that you want to practice every day, because right now it's not part of your life. You know this. It takes 21 days to create a habit. You got to do it 21 days in a row. And now, I think in England, they say it takes 66 days to create a habit, or a bad habit, a good habit or a bad habit. And then, you have a section for doodling. So I took some notes as well. As I go along, I jot down some notes and I figure out, what I said and how can I make it better. So stop chasing things that don't bring you value. I feel very strongly about this. All of it makes sense in the world when you really think about it. Remember, it's other people's opinion. What do you do that you spend time on that bring you value? What do you do right now that you spend time on? And how much time do you spend on it? How much time do you spend on the thing that you do that brings you the most value? How much time? Is it 30 minutes? Is it 60 minutes? I don't think you should go over like 60 minutes, because you lose your concentration. Go for a walk. Go get a cup of coffee. Go get a tea. Go get a hot chocolate. Go get whatever. But what do you do and you spend time on? How much time do you spend on it? And then you got to have rest and recovery. And that rest and recovery is what I'm talking about, is go for a walk, come back to it. Maybe you want to come back to it tomorrow. I don't know. And how are the 3 people that you spend the most time with? Because there's certain people that you spend the most time with. Make a phone call. Now, it could be me, for an example. I know there's some people that I got to reach out to, that I'm going to reach out to, and then I'm going to see how they're doing. And a lot of them are doing some here at home. Some of them are not. Some of them are waiting this thing out and see what happens. But they're taking things with caution, and I want you to take things with caution. This is a serious thing. But your clientele is important, and how well are you going to address your clientele? And the 3 or 4 or 5 people that you communicate with, do they bring you the most value? And that's really the key. Do you spend time with people that bring you the most value, that make you understand, and you pitch and catch together? That's really the key. Do they bring you the most value? And I really want you to do this for homework. And if you can think about this over and over again, okay, stop chasing things that don't bring you value and do your homework. Maybe there's 1 or 2 things that you took out of each block in this paper, and then maybe you want to jot it down and you want to journal in on it and you want to do it for 21 days. Okay? So that ends our stunning leadership. I can't thank you enough, all of you, of all your comments that you've said, and you're watching and you're writing. I can't thank you enough. And I hope this time that I've really given you, I've spoken an hour and 20 minutes. And for all of you, I have to tell you, time is the most important thing. You always can get more money, but you can't get more time. And how you spend your time is extremely valuable. So I hope you walked away with maybe 1 or 2 ideas that you can incorporate into your own life that you take a snapshot of your business, you look at your leadership, you look at your people. Maybe you're going to make decisions that you don't want to make. Maybe there's going to be decisions that, you know what I mean, I need to ramp this up. I need to think about this. This is the time to think about it. You know, during turbulent times, always some good things come out of it. It's unbelievable of what you can learn. I've learned so much when it comes to when there's downtime like this, and I utilize my time properly. So I want you to do the same thing. And I want you to learn the same thing, and I want you to grow, and I want you to develop, and I want you to become more. This is not a commercial. I'm not trying to sell you not one single solitary thing. I want you to walk away with a wealth of information to make yourself better, to make our industry better, to make the industry that you're in better, and go to a brand new level. Next week, I'm going to talk about how to be an entrepreneur behind the chair. And that could be a team-based salon, it could be a suite salon, or it could be a independent contractor. But I'm going to give you the advantages and the disadvantage of being an entrepreneur, because everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. When you go become an entrepreneur, it's a game changer. You have to understand everything when it comes to being an entrepreneur. And entrepreneurs don't sleep, not especially for the first 20 or 30 years. It just goes on and on and on. I've had more setbacks and obstacles and defeats and disappointments and setbacks than you can even imagine. But I stuck it out. I stuck with it. I took the dirt road. I took the paved road instead of the dirt road. And I've learned from it. Just like I want you to. I want you to learn from it. So thank you. I appreciate every single one of you. And hopefully I'll see you at a seminar. I'm actually speaking at in New York City in August. The first week in August, and then the last week we're doing Premier Orlando. It's the second week in August this year. They moved it up to August. Hopefully still have it. And then in between, starting in the second week in June, I'm speaking to a lot of the Paul Mitchell schools. Then I'm going to be out, and I'm going to be venturing out too. And I can't wait to be doing that in my own salon and my own school. I'm going to be back and forth. So to all of you, keep doing what you're doing. Don't forget that stunning leadership is by far the most important thing. 3 hardest things in the world: steel, diamond, and knowing oneself. So you know yourself. You know you got to improve upon. If you improve every single day, you'll improve your team, and you'll improve the salon that you work in, and you'll improve your clientele. Have a great day. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks again. Bye-bye.